There it is. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Ball, y'all. I'm Cass Hargis, along with Lance Lacoste and Jason Dewey. We got special guest, Rummel head coach Nick Monaco, joining us today as Louisiana high school football gets kicked off. We're doing this here on Thursday night of week one. It gets kicked off full throttle tomorrow on Friday. Thank Coach for hopping on here with us. Raiders have a big one tomorrow night in Lafayette. They go travel to play LCA, Lafayette Christians, a rematch from last year. Y'all played them in the Dome last year. Won a shootout, Coach. How you feel going into this one? I know that's always a dangerous team that you're playing over there with a lot of weapons.
Yeah. Last year's game was it was kind of two different halves. We went to half. They had scored right before half. I think it was 14-7 halftime. It was kind of hard to come by yards. And then the second half, it was just fireworks. And it's we got to be able to find that medium in there somewhere. But very talented team, good athletes all over the field. Starts with their quarterback. You got to turn the film off because you get dizzy watching him run around the field so much. But a good team with, like I said, athletes all over the field, and they got their share of linemen too. So it's gonna be a good challenge, and especially right out the gate.
Nice to talk more about your football team, Coach. I know I watched you guys play a couple times last year. It felt like old school throwback Rummel football, power counter zone, physical offensive line, really good running back. Looking at just what you guys did, I'm just looking at a little scouting report that Jason provided me, and looks like it's a little bit more of the same this year, huh? Or what's different going into this season?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the same. So last year we played 6 offensive linemen, 5 of them are back. We have 2 backs that we think are the strength of the team. And that's what we're going to rely heavily on. And I think, as always, you have to be pretty good on defense to be able to win games in this league and in this division. So, the script's going to be pretty much the same. We're going to lean on the run game and try to play some pretty good defense and have good special teams. And, I think if you can do those things, you're going to be in every game, whether you win them or not. You're going to give yourself a chance to win. So those need to be our strengths. And if they're not, things won't go well for us.
Yeah, Nick, again, thanks for joining us. And, I played for your dad, Frank, who's obviously Hall of Fame head coach. And, you got to look up to him for inspiration, despite the fact that he's told the story so many times on our show. He said, don't go into coaching, and all of you guys went into coaching. But you had a chance to learn from him, as well as Coach under Jay Roth. And, your style really mirrors him with the complementary football that your team plays year in and year out. What are some things that you picked up from 2 incredible coaches that you've been able to carry into your program that have really made an impact on the players that you coach now?
Yeah, it's so I don't necessarily think the style, as far as being a run heavy team or any of those types of things. I don't think that's something that's kind of carried over. I think that's more of fitting our personnel. And, we've had years where we've had more skill than usual, and, maybe not had a premier back or not had a line that looks like a Catholic League offensive line. So we've had to do some different things over the years. Joe Chango's our offensive coordinator now, and that's his system. And, so he's basically takes his system and fits to what he does. And, it's Graham Jarrett was the offensive coordinator before him, and he and Joe are both similar in that they have an offensive line background, and you know how those offensive line guys are. They want to run the ball. So I think it's more to do with that than just anything kind of carrying over. I think those 2 guys that you mentioned that have won all those games, it would be more just the day-to-day stuff that, that I've picked up from both my dad and Jay and kind of carried over with me.
Yeah, and kind of maybe on that note, because I know the philosophies were very similar, but just looking at you guys' schedule, and I mean, it's always looked the way that it looks. Obviously, you can't do anything about the district. That's going to always be tough. And then the non-district, going out and challenging yourself. What is something, especially in this week 1 matchup, something that you think you may learn about your team going into an environment, playing a team like that on the road to start the season? And what is something maybe you want to see that when y'all get back from Lafayette, win or lose the game, okay, we check this box, maybe this team has a chance to play deep in the postseason?
Yeah, I personally want to see how we handle the trip, the distractions. I've never played there, but I hear it's an event, and
yep, yes it is.
Yeah, so I want to see how this team handles it. We don't have a big senior class, but we do have a bunch of experience back, and we're relying on that. And we got a new starting quarterback, and again, we need our O-line and running backs to kind of help him, break into the game a little bit. But I'm curious to see how the team handles the whole situation. Getting out of school early, making a trip, getting a little bit out of your normal routine, and just seeing how they handle things. And then again, it's going to be a second half football game. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of last year, of the 9 wins, we won 7 of them in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And I expect us to be in a lot of those games again. So we gotta find ways to win those games again. And so again, I think that's what I want to see. I want to see how we handle this, and then see if we're good enough in the second half.
I know, your reputation as a defensive mind is, well respected around the city, and I mean, really throughout the state. How you guys match up versus LCA's offense? I know I'm looking at their offense. Looks like they got a Division I guy at every, I think, O-line. They got a couple. They got a receiver. They got a running back. They got a quarterback that all have D1 offers and stuff. I mean, it looks like a heck of a challenge for you guys. I know it looks like you're most experienced in the secondary, I guess, coming back from last year. But I mean, what kind of challenge these guys present, and how you gonna get the job done, I guess?
Yeah, it is. It's extremely challenging, and you got to pick and choose because of anytime you get a team like this that's well balanced with some good sized linemen that they're going to play at the next level, and then you have good skill in the perimeter. You got to pick and choose. If showing them a light box, protecting yourself on the perimeter, or adding an extra guy. But the biggest challenge, the guy that takes every snap is an unbelievable football player. I told people last year, I'll say it again. Playing in the Catholic League, there's a lot of good football players, and I think he was the best player we played all year. And we did a good job preparing last year for his design runs, but we were not prepared for his improv, and he did a lot of that where we just couldn't get him on the ground. He ran around all night and found some open guys, but we spent a lot of time doing that, going back for a couple weeks now. So hopefully we have a pretty good plan to face him this time, and we'll see. But they're a really big challenge, and for us defensively, we're not a big team. Depending on who we start on the line in any particular game, we will have one guy over 6 foot, and so we're small, but we do a really good job of getting to the ball, and it always comes down to lining up right and handling the little things, setting edges and fitting inside out and all those things that we need to be really good at. And just so happens that if you're not this week, they're going to burn you.
So, Coach, we know you playing in the Catholic League, how brutal the schedule can be, but you're starting out with LCA, and then I believe it's U High. I know you have a ton of these non-district games, and Cass and I were talking about that earlier this week. Just how it allows you to see your weaknesses as a team and strengthens you as a program. What's kind of going to be your message to your team going forward, and making sure you stay level, even if you do get a big win on the road week 1, this nice road trip? The hits never stop with this schedule. So how do you keep your team consistent in the week in and week out, and make sure you don't get too high or too low?
I think that's it. It's a day at a time, and people say that all the time as coaches, and it sounds like it's just a cliche, but it's true. And you got to find ways to keep them that way. And whatever you did the previous week or previous days means absolutely nothing going into the next one. And each week is a different test. And if you're not ready at your best, you're going to lose. And, so it's that. obviously, I do think winning these close games and they give you a little bit more confidence, and it's always better to go back and fix mistakes after a win, of course, instead of a loss. But it's that we're just finding one day at a time and keeping the kids focused on that one day at a time, no matter what happens on the game day the week before. You just got to keep them focused on what's in front of them, and that group period, that practice, that special teams period, because it's a long season, a heck of a grind. So if you look at big picture, it's pretty intimidating. So you kind of have to stay in the moment as best you can.
Can't get too high or too low, huh?
Yep. Spoken like a true baseball coach there, Coach. Yep. You hear that more in baseball. I see it. But that's the hardest thing to do. That's the hardest when you've got a group of kids, and no matter what sport it is, but keeping them focused on doing the things day in and day out, creating a routine for that. It's difficult. It is cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, because it's true.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about it. I think we tell the kids a lot is the good thing about baseball, good thing about basketball is you play them multiple times a week. So you don't have to wait a whole 7 days to go fix something, get that bad taste out of your mouth. But, a lot of times you got to go back and put in, 6 days of work just to get on the field again and hope you fix it.
No doubt.
Coach, I'd love to just hear, this is more of a generalized question, but I got to be a part of your program for a couple of years. I loved every second of it. I think anybody listening to this would just love to hear you elaborate on the amount of pride that you have in the Rummel football program, the culture that comes with it. You've already been a head baseball coach, head football coach, defensive coordinator. You're an alum. How would you describe your experience from being an alum, a coach, and really experiencing it all?
Yeah, so I'm actually not an alum. I've just been there that long that people look at me that way. Yeah, yep.
I don't know why I thought that. I thought you were.
Grad. No,
that makes a lot of sense.
I get that all the time.
comments.
Yep. So this is year 21. So a lot of people view me that way, but it's
honorary.
I've been working there for so long. People take it. Yeah, people look at it like that. But it's one of those things that the times are changing, and you have to spend a lot more time with your kids, teaching them about your school, about your program, about every little detail and fact about it. And, it used to be when you were 8 or 9 years old, you knew what high school you were going to. And now it's 8th or 9th grade. You figuring out what school you're going to. And, it's becoming more and more of a challenge. It's not I would say, it's not a good time to be in the coaching profession in both high school and college because of the challenges are just, it's a different one every day and things that you would have never thought you'd have to deal with 20 years ago. But it's so you do have to. And while it's hard to fool kids, so if you don't believe it yourself, just saying it's not going to get across to them. So you gotta believe in everything that you're telling them, and they know. And so anything you want to get across to them about your school and your program, they're going to see through that, and they're going to know if it's real or not. And I think we do a really good job, myself and the staff, because that's becoming equally as much of a challenge as finding good coaches and coaches that stay in the game. And I think my longest tenured coach right now is 6 years. And, so that's constantly changing. And so it starts from top down, and we have to buy into what we're selling to kids. And it's, like I said, it's more and more of a challenge, but, you got to do it. Otherwise they won't play for you and they won't play for the school.
Jason, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
Oh, I'm good too. That's
I'm good.
That's it though. The challenge of doing that. And how do you, you have your way of doing things, the culture you want to set in your program. Obviously that changes based on whether it's schematically with personnel, what you do, but the values and what you believe in don't change. Sometimes it's hard to hold that line. And that's getting more and more difficult. So what you've done there, the amount of consistency you've done it with, and it's when you walk in to watch Rummel play football, they're going to be physical and they're going to be fundamentally sound, and that's a compliment to you and your staff. So it's a lot of fun to watch too.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we put in a lot of time, and I think if you look at any successful coach, I think one thing you're probably gonna always be able to see is the attention to detail. If the details are getting covered, I think that the results will get what you want, or at least put a pretty decent product on the field. And so that's what we try to do, and that's what we try to teach the kids. And again, it's more and more difficult each year, but it's just something that we try to get across to them, how important those little details are, because that's what ends up winning and losing games at the end.
I was like, the amount of pride that your Rummel alumni base takes too. I mean, that's got to be part of your selling point to these kids, I would hope. I mean, I've been blessed to get to know so many of the guys now, guys like Donovan Coughlin that played under you. I mean, those guys really keep up with y'all, and you can just tell the amount of pride they have in Rummel football and everything that you and Coach Roth, of course, have done over the last 25 plus years now.
Yeah, it's always good. I think that's always a good thing when your kids leave and they always want to come back. They always stay in touch. And, we was Jamboree last week, so we were still in preseason football and had kids from last couple of years that are texting and still following and watching the live stream. And so it's always good to hear from those kids. And that's how you know that you've kind of made some sort of an impact on their life, when they still reach back out to you and they don't need you anymore. So that's always cool to see. But they come and they have a good experience and they get bought into what we're doing, and then when they leave, they realize how much they miss it, and they still want to stay a part of it, and that's how they keep their attachment, is through you.
Yep.
Thank God Almighty, I'm a Raider. No, that's all I got for you, Coach. We appreciate you hopping on. This was fun. Hopefully we bring you a little bit of luck traveling west tomorrow, and y'all go get them, and then hopefully we see you down the road here in a few months again.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
You got it.
Good luck, Coach. I was cheering for you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Coach.
He don't know how to turn. Oh, there he goes.